how your year went and you're not really feeling too great about it. Look, the title for my 2025 being experimenting is also about discipline and consistency. These 3 months, this is how much I've done.
Oh, yeah.
And then develop that habit of saying, okay, you are growing, you are there.
That also it's important to change your habits, because if you just write it down and be like, oh, new me, new year, new me, and then you don't change your habits and don't change the way you've been doing things, and then it's just going to be the end of 2025, and then you're just realizing all the goals that you've set in like the new year, like when you started the year, you haven't been able to do them because you haven't like changed the things and stuff like something that you'd have to destroy. Like you have to destroy the way you used to think. If let's say, for example, if you're a negative thinker, you have to destroy yourself.
You have to reframe it.
Exactly. Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to Thoughts We Share podcast. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Tinaeshe.
And today we're going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic, or I guess a very important topic. We're going to be talking about achieving your goals and holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
So we're just going to get right into it. And I'm going to start first because we thought, let's talk about realization since we're in the new year, reflecting back on 2024 and thinking 2025, like what are we doing? So for me, my realization in 2024 was when I finished like university. So because I went from doing my bachelor's straight into my master's, I was always busy. It was easy to keep busy because you have an assignment, you have something to do. So when I finally finished and at home and doing nothing, that was when it finally hit me that I was like a passenger in my life along for the ride. And I wanted to take control of my life and be on the driver's seat. So that's when I realized, okay, I need to really think, what do I want? What do I want to do in my life? What does that look like? And I didn't have the answers. So I decided that I will start small based on my experiences. Okay, what did I like in the past? What didn't work for me? What worked for me? And basically, that's how I was able to start that journey.
Yeah.
So how did it look like for you?
I think kind of the same, that just observing my current state of being and thinking about the things I desired, like seeing other women and thinking, wow, she's so accomplished, she seems so organized and on top of things, and I just feel like I'm not there. And instead of taking it on as a comparison and feeling bad about myself, I decided I could be that same person, I could be that same girl and move forward in that direction. So for me, last year was definitely about slowing down, taking a breather. Because the previous years, I was just like, every day I have something to do and not taking that time to kind of sit with myself and just be with me.
Yeah.
So last year was very about Tina time. What I want to do, if I want to sleep, I will sleep for 4 hours and not feel bad about it. And also developing the relationships that I care about the most. So kind of nourishing those, speaking to my friends a bit more, speaking to my partner a bit more, my family, and kind of just honing into that home lifestyle.
Yes.
Kind of like a brooding. I was nesting myself. And then at the end of last year, I felt like, okay, I've done enough of that. I've developed a sense of self. I can now think about how I want to experiment further. So for me, the goal for 2025, or my title for 2025, is experimenting. That I want to see how much I can do if I put myself in a lab and test myself.
Oh, I love that. That is so smart. I feel like I'm on the pruning part. I'm on the waiting season. In between trying to job hunt, in between trying to figure out what I want to do, next steps moving forward. So I feel like I'm on the waiting season. And the way I've looked at it is, what do I need to learn right now? What do I need to know about myself right now? What am I supposed to take out of the situation? Because I feel like it's going to prepare me for what's to come. It's going to prepare me for my future job. It's going to prepare me for my future purpose. So what do I need to work on right now? So I know for a fact that I want to work on being disciplined. So as anyone can understand, discipline does not feel pleasant. Like it's very uncomfortable. It's very hard, like to get up in the morning every day and be like, okay, I have to get up, and I'm practicing like building a habit.
Yeah, the consistency part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Building a habit. So I wanted to discipline myself with reading the Bible. That was one of the things that I was working on before the year ended last year and what I'm working on this year. And I remember when I started, it felt like a chore. And I embraced that it felt like a chore. And I said, okay, it's fine. It can feel like a chore. I may not feel like doing it today, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how I was able to build discipline. And I think a month into it, it then started to feel strange if I didn't read the Bible because it was not within my routine. I've built the routine, I've built the discipline to be like, okay, I haven't spoken to God today. And now, 2025, I'm enjoying it. So I want to incorporate that same mentality into the other things
Yeah.
that I want to work towards
Yeah.
this year. Like, for example, I want to work towards reading a book. Try read a book, at least one book every month, or at least 1.5 months.
Yeah.
I try and read a
10
minimum of
pages.
10 pages a day and then work from there. So now I'm trying to build that habit. I've been slacking sometimes. Like I didn't read yesterday.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, because it's about recognizing that okay, I've missed the day,
Mm,
but not beating yourself down for that, because what you want to escape as well is that shame that comes with discipline.
exactly.
You know, so I watched a video about that on TikTok, which we'll add below. But basically, he said the reason that people struggle a lot with discipline is because there's shame associated with
Mm,
the act of being consistent and adding that value to yourself.
yes.
But if you look at it as that's the person I'm trying to be,
Mm,
you know, I'm trying to breathe, live, and be that person.
yeah.
I don't want to be where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's a beautiful thing to embrace. That
Yeah.
I actually love myself so much that I want to carry on this new habit, to carry on this new persona,
Mm-hmm.
and move that forward and see what's on the other side.
That is so true.
So it becomes a beautiful thing that you say, okay, I want to read my 10 pages because I want to be a person that reads.
Yes.
You know, I want to talk about the books that I read and say, oh, I've read 12 books this year because it's 12 months have passed. Instead of being that person that says, oh, actually, I don't like reading. You don't want to associate yourself with that. So I think that's another factor to consider as well, that there's no shame in not doing your discipline, but think of it as I'm transforming myself because I love myself so much.
Exactly, because I deserve this so much.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think also adding on to that, my other approach for 2024 is to lead with compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
So, like what you're saying, if you don't manage to read and stuff, before in the past, I would have like felt really bad, like, oh, I can't do this, why didn't I do that? But now actually when I don't read, I'm like, it's okay,
Yeah.
because you're gonna read tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I end up feeling more encouraged, like, okay, I didn't read today, but I'm looking forward to it now. Like it's something to look forward to. So just incorporating kind and empathetic words to myself, being compassionate, like, okay, you didn't get it, you didn't get the goal today, but there's room to get it
fine.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I do like that. I do like that.
I love that as well. I think compassion is a big one, which also applies into that discipline as well, like you were saying. Yeah, like how kind are you being to yourself? How do you talk about yourself, and how do you move yourself forward? So that's really that's another thing. Like when you're reflecting and seeing how your year went, and you're not really feeling too great about it, look at it with compassion and think about the why. You know, you're still a growing person. You need that care. Like, would you treat a baby with shame and say, you didn't grow last day, you didn't learn how to walk, how dare you, how dare you? You'd say, actually, it's fine, do it at your own time, but when you're ready, you'll embrace it and walk those 10 steps.
That is so true. And I feel like a lot of times we're very hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to look at it as, with your friend, if your friend messed up and called you and stuff, you wouldn't be hard on them. You'd show them compassion, and you'll be gentle, like, okay, you're gonna get it right next time. Even if, like, as Christians or anything you're trying to like do every day, you fall short because you're not perfect. But every day, like, you know that God's understanding, like, okay, this a new day to come again and come in God's presence, or a new day to try again. So I think if you think of it that way for yourself, like having that compassion you extend to your friends and family and the people you care about, you have to extend as much,
to
if
yourself.
not more, to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Because also, if you are giving it to others, you can't feed or fill someone else's cup from an empty one.
Exactly.
It has to be full, you know, full of compassion for self, and then you give out because you have so much, you're giving extra to the people that are around you. Um, for me, the title for my 2025 being experimenting is also about discipline and consistency, because I want to be a writer. I want to write more. I do write, but I want to write more. And I realized that I have this fear of saying, "Oh, I don't do creative writing. I only write realistic things about my life, da da da." But I actually have these desires to be a creative writer. So what I started is to just do 5 minutes a day for January. So starting small is the biggest thing. We always talk about this
Yes,
anyway, but
yes.
starting small. So I've divided my year into quarters and said, instead of thinking where I want to be in December, I'm thinking about where I want to be in the end of January. And then at the end of March, I can reflect and say, okay, these 3 months, this is how much I've done.
Oh, yes.
So in January is my 5 minutes January. Every day at 8:30 p.m., half past 8 at night, I take 5 minutes to write whatever comes to my brain. But it has to be creative. So any funny little thing I see, and then try and develop a story from that. Whatever comes out in those 5 minutes, even if I don't have anything, I'll just write. I don't know what to write right now. And then develop that habit of saying, okay, every day I write. And then next month I'll pick another goal, and then March, and then I can reflect on how much I've done with that consistency. So for me, with that topic of experimenting, I've never done that before, and I'm curious to see what I'll do. Yeah, it's just about curiosity. There's no one is gonna mark me and say, "Oh, congratulations, you succeeded." It's just for me to see how far I can push myself, because once you break that barrier, you are growing, you are there, you've now become a new person, and that's what I'm trying to do.
That's very beautiful. I like that. And
I
like
like your
you're saying,
quotes too. Yeah.
right. Like you're saying, breaking the barrier. I listened to this quote by Jerry Flowers, and he said, "Nothing changes if nothing changes." So it's like, unless you're willing to break
Yeah.
that barrier, you're gonna be stuck. And I think he said that also it's important to change your habits, because if you just write it down and be like, "Oh, new me, new year, new me," and then you don't change your habits and don't change the way you've been doing things, and then it's just gonna be the end of 2025, and then you're just realizing all the goals that you've set in like the new year, like when you started the
Yeah.
year, you
Or
haven't been
not
able to do them
achieved. Yeah.
because you haven't like changed the things and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Because in order to transform yourself, apparently distraction has to happen. There's something that you'd have to destroy, like you have to destroy the way you used to think. If, let's say for example, if you're a negative thinker, you have to destroy
You
yourself.
have to
That's
reframe it.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's a negative thinker.
Yeah.
Exactly, so you could also grow. And there's this beautiful quote that I read from Brianna West,
Yeah.
and she basically said that you have to mourn the loss of your younger self,
Yeah.
the person that was able to take you to where
To
you
this
are,
far.
exactly, but who's no longer equipped to take you
Yeah.
where you are, where you want to go forward. So for me right now, like as I said, I'm in the waiting season, and I'm also in the grieving season. Like when I look back and say, okay, well, this person, I can appreciate the person I was last year, because she led me up to this point, and I was happy at that point with the person I was becoming and what I'd done with my life, like my achievements and stuff like that. But in order for me to tap into where I'm trying to go,
You have
much
to let that
much
go.
more is required
Yeah.
of me. So that person, the way she used to think, because sometimes that person would doubt herself. Am I capable? Am I going to get the job? Am I good enough? I can't speak in public. Oh, I'm so scared. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So because I'm trying to tap into that, trying to be a risk taker, trying to invest, trying to figure out like how do I do business, and I can't go with that person because that
Yeah.
person's scared to try.
Yeah.
That person won't take the risk. So I need to be like, okay, well, thank you so much, and I'm going
Yeah.
to miss you, but I need to
To move
evolve
on.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
transform into a new person
Yeah.
that's going to help us reach the goals that we want.
Yeah. I love
So,
that.
what does that quote mean to you?
For me, it's, well, I am struggling to mourn the loss of myself, because I've attached my identity so much to who I am, like what I perceive myself to be.
Yeah.
So I think I'm sure that's true to many people, that you wake up in the morning, you think I'm this person, and even when you're talking about yourself, you say, but no, I'm this. You defend, you're ready to protect that part of you.
Yeah.
You know, so for me it's just breaking it down slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So already this consistency thing is a very new thing, a new path that I have to follow. And I
Mm-hmm.
have to let go of the Tina that was able to protect herself in that bubble and create that bubble for myself
Mm-hmm.
to heal. You know,
Yes.
whatever traumas and experiences that I was having, I have to kind of chip away at that and grow out of it, to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's okay, Tina, like you're ready to kind of take smaller steps and
Mm.
go back into the world and see what's out there for you.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah, so it means for me.
Oh, I love that. I love
Mm,
that so much. And I would also say that this year I'm also working on placement, like placement of the people around me. I think I'm trying to shift my focus into looking at the circles and the people I keep around me. And do we have like the same values? I think it's very important for me like to have the same values with the people around me, not necessarily in everything, but the same core values, like kindness. I feel like I want to be around people that are kind and people that are compassionate, because if you know where to place people in your life, then you're able to define where they are in your life, for example. So for me, I want to place myself with people that will encourage me, people that will nurture me, people that will be like, you can do this, you're capable, and stuff like that. Because I think then it also helps you in the days when you're feeling low, in the days
mm,
when you're not so confident, in the days when you're like, am I really capable? I know that if I pick up the phone and I'm saying, okay, I'm nervous, I'm about to go for this job interview, you're gonna tell me, Nicole, you can do this. Like, what's
yeah,
wrong with
yeah,
you? Like,
yeah,
this is you. You're capable.
you're
You're smart. You
deserving.
deserve this job. And
Yeah,
when I walk into that interview, those words play back in my mind. Like, oh wow, she's right. Like, I
yeah,
am capable. So I think it's very important for me this year to take, I guess, notes of the people I have around me and the kind of role that they have in my life.
yeah,
I think that's one of the most important things I'm working on this year, setting boundaries with friends as well. Before, I used to pick up every call, even if I didn't want to speak.
yeah,
Bless my
yeah,
friends. Like, now I'm trying to respect the fact
your
that I don't want to
time.
speak.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to respect that. If I'm not feeling like
Mm.
speaking, then I can, well, I can send a message and say, well, I'll call you back. But it's not by force. Like, I can't force myself into speaking to someone, or force myself. If I'm not really feeling like speaking that day,
You
that's
don't have the
okay.
capacity,
Yes,
yeah,
I don't have the
and that's
capacity, and that's
fine.
okay. Yeah, so that's
Mm.
one of the other things I'm
Mm.
working on for this year.
For me, kind of the same. To, I want to say protect myself more, but it's more of less people pleasing.
Mm,
To say, okay, my time is mine, and I need to use it for
for
me.
you.
So whatever that is. So for me, a lot of my identity is creativity.
Mm,
My business, my job right now, this podcast, my conversations is
mm,
all about being creative and exploring that side of my brain.
yeah.
But I noticed that a lot of last year was spent on giving that specific time tied to that creativity to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So even me dedicating those 5 minutes is just saying, okay, this select time is mine.
Just yours
Yeah.
alone. Yeah.
And if you're creative and you know about what's happening in the creative world, is this book that's been killing everybody's minds, that's been doing such wonders on TikTok, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Mm,
And it's this 12-week program where you go through breaking down those fears and barriers to your creativity. And in there, there's an artist date. So it's not about particularly doing art, but it's about spending that time just saying, okay, this 1 hour is mine. I'm switching
mm-hmm.
off my phone, not talking to anybody, and developing me only.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of puts you in that mindset of being in school, of being in university, that you're sitting there, you're concentrating, you're studying, and then you're developing your brain. But
Mm-hmm.
then now you are the topic,
Mm,
you are the center of your own attention because you want to develop you. So taking on that program has been really helpful in just reminding myself that okay, I do matter and I'm important, even though I want to spend that time with my friends because they
yeah.
deserve it, or my people. But I also need to, like I was saying, I can't give them anything if my cup is empty.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's like coming back to self in a different way. So
Mm-hmm.
that state was more of like, I fear everything, I want to be in the house, nobody talk to me, anxiety
Yeah.
while in my room. But now it's like, okay, I'm I want to be outside. I want to not outside, but
No.
I want to be out there doing stuff and not fearful of the world. That the world
Yes.
is beautiful, and even though it has harmed me in whatever way, I can still find beauty in the million other things that exist
Yeah.
beyond that
That is so
ugliness.
beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that.
Mm.
And speaking of outside, actually, because that actually made me think how we're not so outside
Yeah.
anymore.
No. Definitely.
And I think maybe that's why we obviously are able to still relate in a lot of ways. But I think also last year, at the end of last year, we're starting to realize like, oh wow, like our outgoing friends, like if we're not going out, then where
We're
are we
not
gonna meet
seeing them
them
at
exactly?
all.
Because we've always met in terms of like just going out and
Yeah.
having fun, having a drink and stuff like that. So because now I'm trying to step away from clubbing and I'm trying to step away. Well, I've basically stepped away from drinking really. So now it's like when I try and say let's hang out, the first thing they say is,
Let's
oh,
go
let's go out
out.
for a drink. There's two for one. Oh, let's go for this, which is not who I am
Yeah.
anymore. And I think just setting those boundaries, because in the past I said, okay, let me just
Let's just do
firm
it.
it.
Yeah.
I'll just go, I won't drink, but then it's an environment I don't want to be in
Yeah.
anymore. So the people pleasing, like you're talking about, I'm gonna be firm this year. Like, yo, if you wanna see me, you'll just have to see me in a new environment. And I hate that, like, a lot of times we associate fun with partying, and there's fun like in art, like where you're talking about like orchestras. There's so many other things like
Yeah.
that's full of
Exploring.
fun and exploring. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Because for me, the clubbing is, I'm tired.
Ish, we're
And
old.
yeah,
We're
I'm
not
not, it's not
old. We're
even
not
old.
old.
For me,
We're
it's not
just
even
tired.
age. Honestly, it's more of the after effects of having a hangover, that most of my day is now gone. And I've put so much value on my time lately
Mm.
that I never want to be late to anything again. I want to be on time. If I say I'm meeting someone at 1 p.m., I'll be there. If I'm doing something at 1 p.m., I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I notice when I'm hungover and I'm tired and I'm sleeping from 3 a.m. until 2 p.m.,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be as productive as I want to
Productive.
be. And
Mm.
I want to be a productive person at all times. So if I'm drinking, I'm having one drink and I'm done. And if we're going to the club at midnight, I'm going home because that's my
That's when
bedtime.
it starts.
Yeah, no, but that's my bedtime, and I need to be that kind of person for me, you
Uh-huh.
know,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I need to develop myself in that way. And obviously that has caused like issues or problems with friends and family that need you in that kind of space as well. But and then having those hard conversations, it's not easy,
Yeah.
but it's like you're saying, you have to mourn
That
that version of you
version
and say, okay, I do miss my friends, I do miss this environment, but it's not productive
for
for me
me.
and I need to shed it, you
That is
know.
so true. Oh my God, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And that just goes into a segue into vision boarding
Mm-hmm.
and how we've now reflected and we've now realized these things of what I want to be, what I want to do this year, da, 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 da. But how do you then envision December, you
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
and all the months in
Exactly.
between, you know? Yeah.
Mm.
So do you want to go through your how you did your vision board
Yeah.
process?
So um, I was well. My partner sent me something. It was a book that he's reading, but I actually don't know what the book is
You don't
called.
remember, yeah.
But I remember when I was reading it, it basically talked about like visions. So it said that a vision is the capacity to see beyond your physical eyes into a preferred future,
Yeah.
and a vision is purpose in pictures. So basically, you're talking about vision boards.
Mm.
So it's like, then they said if you close your eyes and picture like where what you want or what you want for yourself and stuff like that, and then put it into pictures, like visualize it into pictures, and then every day when you wake up, you look at the photo, you look at the picture, and say, "This is where I'm going," because it gets your brain to basically come to the realization, like, "Oh, this is where we're going." So I started with like, what do I like and what do I
What
not
you don't
like
like, yeah.
exactly, because I feel like everything that everyone's gone through, it's taught you something. Whether it's relationship, maybe when it ends, because I feel like obviously then there's something that you learn from it. I feel like any people that I used to date before, when it ends, I then realize, okay, this is what I liked and this is what I didn't like. So now I know what I want for my future partner or my future relationships, even with friendships and stuff. Like, okay, this is the kind of friend I want, this is the friend I don't want.
Yeah.
So then in my vision board, I was able to like pick out things that I like and things that I don't like. Like, okay, I wanna take more risks. What does taking risks to me look like? Okay, I wanna invest, I wanna look into business and stuff like that. So which is what I'm trying to do right now, like educate myself. And then how do I want to be treated as a girl, like as a baby girl? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I want flowers, not even just from like partners or family. I want flowers for myself. I want to relax. One thing about me, I'm big on relaxing this year.
Girl,
I'm
we
big on
know.
zenning. Like everyone knows me, I like to be indoors. I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But if even if I go somewhere, I want it to be peaceful. Like I
Mm.
want it to be a haven. I want to relax. Like then I looked at pictures. What does relaxing look like to me? Okay, I want to wear a gown. I want to take myself to a quiet time in a hotel. Just reflect, relax. Like for my birthday, I spent my birthday on my own. It was my 25th birthday because the frontal lobe is fully developed. So I spent time alone on my birthday. Literally booked myself a hotel, and I remember when some of my friends were asking me and saying, "Oh, what are you doing for your birthday?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm literally spending my birthday alone." They they pitied me,
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, don't worry, I can come
Yeah.
spend time with you." And I was like,
It's like, no,
"No,
it's not about
people,
that.
it's not about that. I
Mm.
want to take time to reflect on me, on my own,
Yeah.
reflect on the goals that I want, really sit and think, what is it that I want for this next coming year?" And I don't like associate being lonely as something to to feel sad about or feel sorry to yourself.
Sorry about yourself.
Sorry about yourself
Yeah.
about. So yeah, like I think just that quiet time and pictures and just realizing and having faith. Like faith is like substance of things we hope for that you can't
You
touch, but
can't touch it,
you
but
know,
you
but you
see
know it's
it.
coming exactly.
Yeah.
And trusting who's in control, trusting that like God is like listening to you and stuff like that, and he's seeing that like, okay, God,
Mm.
what is it that you want from me that's within your will? I think for me this year is within your will, heavy
Yeah.
on the within your will. And I feel like you'll be able to, when I close my eyes sometimes, I feel like he's showing me things that I never thought about. Now I sit, I picture like where I'm gonna live, maybe like end of this year. I sit there and I walk into the room, like I literally physically close my eyes in the morning and I picture myself walk into the room, how my bedding looks like,
Yeah.
how it smells in the
I mean,
room,
you're
how my
even talking
clothes.
about how you want your backsplash for your bathroom to look like, how you want the shower
Exactly.
head and
My
yeah, the
kitchen and
kitchen, yeah,
everything. Like I feel
everything.
like every moment since I tapped into like vision boards and manifestation, I feel like every single time something catches my eye. And I always think like, well, something else could have caught my eye, but it's this specific thing that's caught my eye. So now every time when I look at something, I see pictures of my future house and how it's gonna look like, and it gets me really excited. And I feel like once I'm in that high vibration, that's how I'm able to
Yeah.
attract the things that I'm looking for. Now even me, I'm delusional. Like I can see it happening. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm gonna have. I
Yeah.
even pictured the stove I
And you
want, and
should.
as I should, because
Yeah,
I'm
you should.
deserving
You are deserving, and
and I
it's
need it.
possible, because if it exists in the universe, if it exists and it's in someone else's kitchen, then it can definitely be in your kitchen as
Yes,
well.
yes.
So there's no limits to how far you can dream.
Mm,
This world is
mm, mm.
gigantic,
Yes.
and the possibilities are so open. I know when I moved to the UK, that's the mindset that I came with, because I was like, where I'm from, UK is first world country, and the possibilities are so many. You can be anything. You can be an actor. You can be a sports person. You can sing. You can dance as a career and be successful and make money. And
Mm,
it can be such a saturated and dense environment, but you can
exactly.
still succeed in whatever format that is.
There's room for everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here with like, I can dream, I can try and experiment in careers, I can do so much and see what happens. It's just curiosity also at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that.
That's exciting. I
Mm.
love it. I love it. I love it.
So for me, vision boarding went like this. It was more of a structure that I went through. I didn't start off with, oh, what do I see in my life? It was like, okay, I have no picture,
Mm-hmm.
no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put them down under topics.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off by breaking it down into 5 topics. I think there was like self-care, self-love.
Mm-hmm.
There was career.
Mm-hmm.
It was finances, relationships, and this includes my partner, my friends, my family, and then health,
Lifestyle as well, right?
lifestyle. Is it? I don't remember the last one.
And then jobs, work.
Yeah, it was career and jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But and then creative. It was creative because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I feel like I'm a creative person. So
You
I
are
am though.
a creative
I
person.
am a
Say it
creative. Yeah,
again.
I am a creative
Yes,
person.
she's a creative
I am a
person.
creative person. So I put those five down, and then I started off with things that I see on a daily basis. So cars, houses, money, and kind of visualizing that. And I just went on Pinterest and I wrote in cars, and then I picked the ones that I liked. So I saw red ones, brown ones, black ones, and stuff. And then I wasn't really feeling the Audis, Mercedes, and all because they're not really my style of things that I like or appreciate in aesthetics.
Yeah.
And then I went more in depth into those pictures. I'm like, okay, I like the black ones. Let me see what black cars I can find. And then I went and I found this truck, and I was like, oh, I've never even thought about having a truck before, but I feel like I can get it, and I put it down. And then now housing, that I want to move to a different house. I just picked, that picture of the key. Yeah, with the girls holding the key like this. I just put it in there. And then we moved on to self and healing. So I want to feel more confident in myself, and confidence is built through creating that creative practice of consistency, discipline, and all. So then the equivalent of that confidence was putting in on my creative section, writing every day.
Yeah.
And I put that in there. And then relationships, that me and my partner want to travel more this year. So I put that on there because we discussed that. And then getting closer with my siblings, getting closer with my best friend, and just developing that. So I put that in there. And then my career, that I was observing my career, and I'm now in a managerial role, but I don't know how to navigate that. So I put me being like a big manager, and managing people, and just be like, tick, 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 and envisioning myself just being more formal and more having more of a structure in that career and growing in that way. And then I also have a business, and how I want to transcend this business into a different light, and the finances that I want there. And then the big one for me this year is to clear my debt.
Amen.
I have credit card debt, as many people do in their 20s, and I want to clear that out to zero.
Yes.
And how to manage that my finances, because I've never taken the time to even read anything about managing my finances. I don't know how to do it, but this year I want to be able to do that. So that's how my vision board came to life.
I love that.
And then now, because that's very overwhelming to look at every day and say, okay, but how am I going to get there? And then dividing that into quarters, and in that quarter, you're just dividing it into that month.
I love. That's so smart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tips, I guess. Because obviously everything we've said is so beautiful, and we are so deserving. And I'm sure you're also thinking about the things that you want and how deserving you are. And so one of the things that's worked for me, in terms of like trying to believe, like what you're saying, like sometimes you look at it and you're just like, but how am I gonna get there? I'm feeling stuck or whatever, because people have like their problems. Maybe you, like for example, you want to get to somewhere but you're in debt, you have to clear out your debt first and all that stuff. So I was listening to Stephanie Ike Okafor. Oh my god, her sermons are so beautiful. And I'd like advise, if you have time, to listen to her. And she was talking about this time when she was talking about faith in action, about how sometimes you can have faith in words, but the faith is not found in you. Because then I started to think all the time, so even when in prayers or when I'm manifesting things, I'll be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. I had to stop and think to myself, like, do I really believe what I'm saying? Like, do I actually have faith that I'm gonna do it? Do I buy what I'm selling, basically? Because I didn't want to be someone that has faith in her words or who speaks things over, because at the end of the day, it's really about what's in your heart, right? And she also said that you should be careful about asking God without faith, for he will meet you at the level where your faith is. And then she said it's also when you reflect on the Bible and how like Jesus was healing people, he said your faith has made you well. So it was like, for me, I then started to realize, okay, what am I going to do to get myself into a position where I believe what I'm saying? So for me, that starts with repeating every
Yeah.
single day. So that's what I'm on right now. I
Yeah.
repeat every single day. I look at my vision board and I say, Nicole, this is the life you're gonna have. I look at and analyze all these pictures and I look at it and I say, this is the life you're gonna have every single morning, every day, before like getting up, before doing anything. That little 5 minutes of meditation and praying and then saying, God, this is the life I want to have. Can you bless me? Show me like where to go, like lead my steps and stuff like that. And I feel like more and more now, like I'm starting to believe that because,
Yeah.
like you said, it's reflecting in my actions. Because now I'm picking out stoves naturally. I'm picking out like, okay, this is stuff I'm gonna have, and
Yeah.
I'm sure about it. Like this is the stuff I'm gonna have. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's helped me a lot.
I think that's a key thing to
Mm.
really reframe your mindset, but it's not easy
Said and
said and then done,
done.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's that consistency. So it takes a while to reframe your
Your
mindset.
brain.
It
Mm.
doesn't happen where you say, today I'm going to say my affirmation, like I am confident or I am powerful, and then you feel powerful today.
Mm-hmm. It's a
No, you will
gradual.
say I'm powerful, but your brain will say, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
And because the evidence is there in at the back of your
It's
mind, like, but
brain.
look, you were not powerful in this day and this day.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to say it day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, all the way up to day 30. And midway through that, you'll realize that you actually have started shifting your mindset.
Mindset.
And the things that you concentrate on become the things that you pick out, like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
because you're so focused on the positives, on the faith in that, you know you're going to get that. You're believing now because of the reframing mindset. You start
Mm-hmm.
seeing things in the world that are talking to you about that.
Exactly.
So think about when you want to buy a car or when you
Mm-hmm.
like a car. How many times do you spot that car in the street? You
Mm.
see it so many times, like so
But
many
sometimes you
times.
didn't even see it until you
Yeah,
saw it.
until you start thinking about it, like,
Mm.
okay, whatever you want to buy, even a skirt, you just be like, but I like that skirt. And then you see another girl and another girl, and it's like, wow, 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 wow.
Mm.
And that comes into your worldview, and that's how positive thinking happens. The more
Mm.
positive approaches you take with your mind,
Mm-hmm.
the more you catch them in the world,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then you start feeling more positive and better about that.
Yes, I
I
love
think
that.
the next step is then achieving those goals, because, like we said, it can be overwhelming. But then breaking them down and writing them down and
Mm-hmm.
saying, okay, well, I learned this on Mel Robbins anyway. To take your pen and paper and look at the picture and say, okay, that's the car that I want. First step is to find out how much it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's 14,000. I'll put that down, right? And then that means, what are you going to do about it? Do you want to save? Do you want to work? And then when you start thinking about how to solve that problem, the problem is you don't have a car.
Mm.
How to solve that problem, opportunities then introduce themselves to you.
Yeah.
You might just meet a random person that says, hey, I'm selling this car,
Mm-hmm.
or an opportunity to work extra hours, or even just free cash, really.
Yeah.
You might
Yeah.
just find
Yeah.
5p on the ground. And that's the beginning of that 14,000
That's
pot,
true.
you know.
You're 5p lighter.
Yeah. So when you write it down, it tells your mind that this is something you want to focus on,
Mm-hmm.
and then you then work towards that.
Yeah.
You start looking for those solutions.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
And also, in the spirit of it's not easy doing it, I think
Yeah.
if you're gonna work on elevating, and then I say this to myself as well, like it's to prepare for turbulence. Things are gonna get shaky.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, you just don't wake up the next day and be like, I'm powerful, and say, yes, I am powerful. It's like a learning curve. Like
Yeah.
in order to build a habit, some they say in order to build a habit, you need to give it 30 days. And I think for some people it might be longer. It depends on how long it's gonna look like for you. But like it's consistency is key.
Even when you don't want
Even
to,
when you
even
don't
when you
want
don't
to,
feel like it.
do it anyway. Just think
Yeah.
of the life that you want. Like, okay, this is where I'm trying to go, but being in bed today, it's not gonna help me. So let's breathe and get
Yeah.
out of bed and stuff like that. And I listened to this other podcast where it's like a therapy Thursday type of thing by Jerry Flowers. He does it like on Thursdays, and he was basically saying that like when a plane's on the ground flying, let's just say if there's wind and whatever, like you can't feel the turbulence. You only feel the turbulence in the air.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling turbulence is given to those who are flying. So if you're trying to go somewhere and nothing's shaking, more time 9 out of 10 you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
But then when you start elevating, and then you start to feel the shake, the shift, the uncomfortableness, that's a sign to you to be like, okay, something's shifting in my brain. So that's how you can see as well that you're
And that
changing and stuff
applies
like
to
that.
every
Mm-hmm.
aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
nerves calm, that uncomfortable feeling comes,
Yeah.
everything just like, oh girl, ooh, ooh. It's like, oh, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But then once you get over that turbulence, it's smooth sailing.
Exactly.
That was achieving your goals, vision boarding, seeing yourself as your future you,
Mm-hmm.
and achieving that goal. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you guys.
I'm Tinaeshe.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is Thoughts We Share.
Yeah.